Greetings and welcome to another episode of Q Points Podcast. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is Jay Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. And Sir Daniel, we in the TV. You know what that
Ex-
means.
Listen, that means we're gonna watch a little something together. We gotta watch an archive because kids back in the days, we used to see this thing. We used to watch television on these really small boxes that you see in front of you.
Yes.
And one of our favorite things to do was to watch music videos back in the day.
Yes.
And this particular video, J Ray, I gotta say, this song, I think that the kids could dig this up and revamp it because they're into a lot of what they're calling Southern soul now.
Yes.
And this song fits into that category. So who knows? We might single-handedly be bringing back this particular song and artist.
Oh, that would be something. So, by the way, who we are talking about, y'all, is we're talking about the song Bill. It was on Peggy Scott Adams' 1996 release called Help Yourself, right?
Help yourself.
Help Yourself. The song was released in 1997, and it was written by a man named Jimmy Lewis, who wrote and produced the song, which is very interesting when we get into the song.
Which is an important point, yes.
That is a very important point. But it would also, Sir Daniel, I think the young people today would revamp it. Like, they would definitely want to do something else with it, because I do think this is a song, like another song we've talked about, Another Man, that is of its time. It is like of its time. And but I think we need to give the folks some context. So people actually, I think, need to see this and hear this.
Sure.
So we're going to watch it together.
As a family.
So,
because that's what we do around here at Q Points.
That's what we do around here at Q Points. So why don't we do this, Sir Daniel? Why don't we go ahead and watch Bill by Peggy Scott Adams? And then we will come back, y'all, and we will have some discussion, because I am sure there will be plenty of things to talk about after watching this video. So let's check it out.
Oh, that was ridiculously delicious.
Sir Daniel, you're like, that's my kind of carrying on.
I love a little bit of mess. And that was camp. It was the blues. It was R&B. And most of all, it was messy. It was so messy. Jerry, I just remember the uproar that this song caused back in 97. All the morning shows, the radio morning shows, especially the black ones here in Atlanta, had the phone lines lit up.
Yes.
When it came to Bill. Because she said, I was waiting on Betty, Veronica, and Jill.
Yeah.
But I had no idea that I had to deal with Bill.
With Bill.
What?
Yeah, so it's an interesting moment in time, right? So songs are about moments in time. This is, and the era of the DL man, it is emerging, right, as a conversation point. The internet is exploding, right?
Yes.
So you have different opportunities for folks to meet one another, et cetera, right? Sidebar, Sir Daniel, remember when you couldn't tell people that you met someone on the internet? Like, that was like,
it was so taboo.
It was so really taboo. Yes. So this is that era.
That era.
Yeah. And this is also the era, the homo thug is emerging in this time frame. So there's a lot of things socially that are happening where sexuality is a lot more visible in a
Right.
lot of respects. And so this song comes along and is in the canon. But I want to bring in something. So this is from an interview with Peggy Scott Adams. And here's what Peggy Scott Adams had to say about singing Bill. And I think
PSA from PSA.
A PSA from PSA. You're so good, Sir Daniel. She said, quote, I was as shocked as you when my producer at the time, the late Jimmy Lewis, who wrote the song, when he presented it to me, I thought that it was going to be like your typical, the man I loved. And then she was like, loved another guy. I literally hollered. And Miss Scott Adams said, I'm not singing this. No way I'm singing this. But she said, after some consideration, she said, I'll go ahead and do it. But here's what she thought as she reflected. She said, this is a quote, once you get past the shock of the song, I realized that in the end, the song is really, it was a homosexual theme, but it's really about deception and being deceived. And a person who'd experienced deception. So I was like, I understand.
Yeah, you know what? Bill falls in line with a historical a historical genre of song about infidelity. We've had songs about confrontation. We've had the Barbara, Hello Shirley, This Is Barbara.
Yep.
Woman to Woman. We had those confrontation songs. We've had plenty of songs about cheating, getting caught cheating. Infidelity is just one of those subjects that is a human experience across the board. It's one of those things that everybody can relate to. And so for that, the songwriter, Mr. Lewis, just tapped into it and was like, you know what? And probably just wanted to tap into the zeitgeist and say, what are people talking about? What's so controversial? And as you mentioned, at this time in 97, we're getting little glimpses and flashes of different types of relationships, different types of, so like you said, sexual expression, in especially because this was at the height of the tabloid TV. This is at the height of your Jerry Springers, your Ricky Lakes. And they always had on some type of show dealing with sexuality and sex. And so it was just a power move. It was a good power move because they had everybody talking about Bill and his decisions. But can we get into the video a little bit?
Okay, sir. Let's do it. Where you want to start? I have thoughts about this video. Where you want to start?
Okay. I am, and granted, this was 1997, but to me, there is just something, I don't know, something deliberately insidious about casting white men in these roles.
Yes.
I just don't think you're gonna have. I mean, yes, there's some relationships that happen, but I don't know. It just is far-fetched for a white man to be cast as Bill. To me,
yes,
I'm thinking if this is really like a down-home conversation that's happening, or something that's happened to some people that it ain't gonna be no white man.
Yeah.
It's going to be a man that looks just like your husband.
Yes.
And fits in with your family, because that's really what a lot of women were dealing with, the fact that black men were finding intimacy in relationships with other black men.
Yes.
So, I just had that's my little 2 cents on that. All this casting of white men in these roles, especially when it comes to being the love interest of a primary character, which happens to be a black man, just seems lazy. The casting seems lazy, and it's also pushing forward. This is probably a white director. I don't know. You know what, Jerry? It just came to me. Maybe having a white man in the video makes this more palatable.
Well,
to Black people? What do you think?
I think I actually think it plays into the stereotype, kind of the age-old stereotype that we have about homosexuality in particular, in that
Mm.
it is something that white people had like had given or bestowed, and brought
Oh
to
yes.
Black people. I think it more plays into that false narrative. And that's where I think that part, when I rewatched the video in preparation for our
Yeah.
conversation, I had completely forgotten about the context of the video. And then when I saw the white man, I'm like, oh, there's that in here too. Like they're
Uh-huh.
doing the white man as well. And that's one of the things that I know, even if we did, if folks did anything around Bill today, they would have more care of how this was depicted in the music video. Going to your question about making it more palatable, I do think it's interesting to mention just how popular this song was, because Sir Daniel, you might be kind of right. Bill peaked at number 72 on the pop charts, which is a
Mm.
big, like, it was in the Hot 100. It was number 9 on the R&B charts, and it was number 1 on the blues charts for a long time.
Wow.
So there might be something to this music video, and making it more palatable. But one of the things that wasn't in the music video but is in the song and is a problematic. So when the song kind of extends out, it talks about the fact that this woman's husband, whose name we don't know, leaves with Bill, but kind of leaves the family. So he's like, tell the kids I love them and all of that. That's a whole mess.
What?
Right. Tell the kids tell the kids I love them. So basically I'm like, well, is he not going to see the children? Like, is he like gone now? So I have beef with that. I also have beef, like, up until the last verse. So this is the last 2 verses.
Yeah.
So that the verse that ended the music video, I didn't have beef with the song up until it's like, oh, the man was a queen, who
Oh
thought he was
yes.
a king.
Because you got to berate him.
You have
You
to
got to
berate
berate
him.
him. The women have to walk away saying something like, girl, you're not just gonna let him do that to you. You got to say something. So you got to berate the man. You
Yeah.
got to call him a queen, but in a nice way, because this is still a song, a blues song.
Yeah.
So you're not actually cussing anybody out. But yeah, songs like this definitely tapped into, I think, like a fear that a lot of Black women were feeling. Because, like you said, at that time, the whole discussion of DL-ness was coming up. And you have popular writers like Terry McMillan sprinkling instances of like this in her books.
Yep.
So there was a heightened awareness among Black women, like all the questions that they were asking the men that they were dating at the time, like, well, you live with your mama? Do you have your own job?
Right.
Are you gay? All those things were starting to come up in the collective consciousness of, at the time, women who were on the dating scene.
Yep.
And I'm sure it had to be hard for them. It had to be scary, especially when people are always presenting things in this fashion to you, marketing things to you. They're marketing fear, weren't they, Jerry?
They were absolutely marketing fear, and at the same time telling stories that had this is somebody's story. And I love that you use that word. I think where the fear comes in is because queerness in all of its many forms was so quiet and in the dark that people didn't feel like they had to think about it, right?
Yeah.
If a man says that he wants to be with me, I don't have to think about the fact that, oh, he might be bisexual or he might be something other, right? Because he's with me. And I think in the 90s, these things that were in the dark are now all of a sudden in the light. For us as the Generation Xers, remember, Black women were also reading Elin Harris in this time.
Yes.
Invisible
yes.
Life was now 3 years old by then. So I'm sure Mr. Jimmy Lewis was hearing about these books that are now emerging where these characters exist and all of this stuff. So yeah, I feel like folks were scared and really didn't know what to do about any of this. And it allows songs like Bill to kind of take off.
Is there, and we teased about it earlier, but is there a way that this song could exist today? Like, could it be handled in the same way, or would it be more, I don't know. I guess I'm going to answer my own question. I think if an artist were to approach this subject matter today, I believe the young people today are a little bit more clever, or maybe this would be a non-issue to no, this is still an issue to them because they're still, people are still making their comments, and queerness is still under attack, and it's in very little different ways. You have radio hosts who keep making their snide little comments.
And then made a pride thing, which is now getting, and people are reposting weird. That. I'm like, weren't we just dragging this woman like last week for some foolishness? And now this is like celebrated. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's weird. But yeah, I don't know. I think today's artists may be able to handle something like this with a little bit more finesse.
Yeah. Maybe. I think finesse is the right word. I think finesse is the right word. I will say, even with the problems that I have with the music video and the song, I think the storytelling is great. It's great storytelling.
Listen, you can't beat Black people singing the blues. Right. You cannot beat us when it comes to singing the blues and the delivery, the look of the video. Yeah, you just can't beat us when it comes to stuff like that. So absolutely.
Yeah. And it's nice. And what's crazy about this, y'all, so this is 1997. This song is squarely in the blues genre. Because when you look at the video, when you look at even the album cover for Help Yourself, like it feels like a generation behind, a couple generations behind. Kind of like what gospel was doing then, because gospel was kind of going through a metamorphosis in this moment too. Because this song came out in 97 and Missy Elliott dropped the, Super Duper Fly in 97. Right. You know what I mean? So we were doing other things in that year, but this song is squarely in kind of classic Black blues and R&B storytelling, which is kind of refreshing for the time. So
right. It's funny you mentioned that. I just thought of the album cover itself, and the album cover in comparison to a Missy Elliott Super Duper Fly looks very basic.
Yep.
And kids, guess what? There was a time when albums were sold on television.
Yes.
They would, especially blues records and some gospel records. They used to have flash these commercials where there would be these blues collections. You would hear, "We go wang ding doodle," in the commercial. And all these different blues legends would be featured on these compilations, because there were certain labels like your K-Tels and your Rhino records that were specializing in still putting together compilations and releasing albums of blues artists at the time. So that's why that album has that look. I'm pretty certain there was a commercial, a 1-800 commercial running on television saying you could get you a copy of Peggy Scott Adams. If it's not in stores, along with a couple your favorite Bo Diddley records
Yes.
and Lattimore. And so yeah, we gotta keep the context, J. Ray. And I think
Yes.
I don't know, I kind of miss those days. I miss seeing those commercials and knowing that for the low price of $9.99,
Yes.
you can get 50 CDs of your favorite.
Listen, let me tell y'all, like, when I used to buy them smooth grooves, that's how I learned about so many classic slow jams. The smooth grooves, it was got up to like smooth grooves. I don't know. It was so many of those, but that, of course, the classic commercial, No My Brother. What was it? Was it Hey Love?
No, my brother. You've got to get your own.
Listen,
Yes.
it was something about the pureness of those types of things, right?
The days of having a candy liquor commercial on television are done, but I kind of miss those days, Jerry.
Miss those days. Like, this particular song, it is an interesting moment in time.
Definitely.
It certainly brought awareness to diverse sexual experiences and relationship experiences from folks, because I do think, going back to the lyrics as we wrap up, one of is a couple of things that I thought were really important. One, the woman in this said, I don't feel ashamed and I don't take the blame. I thought that was really powerful.
Good for her.
Good
for her. Yes.
But also, I thought the conversation that when she asked the man, like, hey, why didn't you like tell me that this was a thing, right? And for him to be able to say, hey, I thought being with you that it would change. And I'm like, fix. He literally did think it would fix. Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, this was Sir Daniel, I'm glad we got to watch this. For you folks who have tuned in audio, you should definitely hop over to Q Points Magazine, because you can watch us watch the video, which is super dope. But thank you all for tuning in to Q Points. If you can see our faces, if you can hear our voices, go ahead and hit the subscribe button wherever you are. Follow us online at Q Points Pod. You can visit our website at qpoints.com. You can check out our archive of shows. Visit our magazine at Q Points Magazine, where you can check out a whole bunch of content related to our show. And shop our store at store.qpoints.com. Happy Pride, y'all. We kicking off Pride with Bill.
With Bill and another man and everything else
coming.
you can think of.
Yeah.
My God. Well, listen, like I always say, in this life, you have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record spin. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is J. Ray, y'all.
And I'm Bill. And this is Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle.
You done stole somebody, man. You done broke up a household, Sir Daniel.
I kid. I would never.